If you are a business owner and you own a business by yourself, or you're thinking about starting a business by yourself, pay close attention. The U.S. Department of Education has now stated that on May 5th of this year, of 2025, they will start collecting on unpaid student loan debt. Now, listen, before I get into this video, I want to go ahead and pre-warn you. This is probably going to be a pretty long video because I got to get you the information. I got to give you some context so that way you understand what needs to happen. You see, back in 2020, the government stopped collecting on student loan debt. Why did they stop collecting? Then, we had COVID and things of that nature. And then the Biden-Harris administration came in and said, you know what? We're going to go ahead and stop people from paying student loan debt. We're going to go ahead and forgive the student loan debt. And Congress said, no, people need to start paying. Well, guess what happened? The government has had enough of people not paying their student debt. Why? Because there's over 42 million people who are behind on student loan debt in the total amount of $1.6 trillion. Now, before you get into Republican, Democrat, business owner, or whatever the case is, you got to understand, if somebody owed you $1.6 trillion, wouldn't you try to go ahead and collect on that debt? You see, don't get into the minutia. Don't get into all of the he say, she say. The government is owed $1.6 trillion. Well, the Department of Education, that is. Well, right now, on May 5th of 2025, they're going to start collecting on past due student loans. How are they going to collect? Well, they're going to use two methods. They're going to collect from federal and state tax returns. And even worse, they're going to start deducting and garnishing your wages. Now, why am I speaking about that? Because as business owners, what do we always do? You always go get a limited liability company. And since the LLC is only recognized by the state, guess what you have to file? You have to file federal tax returns. And since the LLC is only recognized by the state, guess where you file those federal tax returns? On your personal tax returns using a Schedule C. Now, typically what business owners do is you always file your taxes. You show that the business took a loss so that way you can get a refund. Well, guess what? If you owe student loans, that refund they can take. State refunds they can take. And then they can also garnish your wages. Now, let me go ahead and throw this in for good measure, right? You have some of the smart business owners who say, you know what, I'm going to just file my taxes as an S Corp. Well, guess what happens when you file your taxes as an S Corp? That means you have to be an employee of that company. And guess what happens? Whenever you're an employee, you are going to have your wages garnished, even from your business. Like, here's why I'm having this conversation, because as business owners, I've already taught people that you should never connect yourself to the business. You should separate yourself from the business. You should probably stop putting yourself on payroll. Why do you want to stop putting yourself on payroll? Because you graduated to be a business owner. How do you open a business then to become an employee all over again? You see, the LLC, the S Corp are all what's called pass-through entities, which means you as an individual have to take financial responsibility for that business's income, losses, and deductions. And guess what happens when you have a personal issue like student loan debt? You're wrapping that business all into the same conversation. You see, this is why I teach people to structure their business as a C corporation, because a C corporation is a person by itself. The C corporation didn't go to school. The C corporation don't have student loan debt. So guess what? They can't come after the C corporation. You see, all roads lead to, whenever you got that LLC, you listen to what everybody on the internet told you. Go get a limited liability company. And guess what? You are now about to see what happens when you connect yourself to that business. Now, here's what's going to happen. They're going to give you some opportunities to, sign up for some repayment plans and things of that nature. And you can take this opportunity to listen to all of these gurus that say that you didn't legally sign a contract to get the student loan and all of that. Listen, I'm not saying that there aren't violations that were made in terms of the contract and things of that nature. But what I am saying is, you got that money to go to school. You did that. Now it's time for you to be responsible and take accountability. So here's what I'm saying. Don't let May 5th come and then you all of a sudden decide to say, you know what? Nah, that's not going to happen. I'm telling you it's going to happen. And then even worse. And let me tell you what happened to me. I'm chilling, minding my business a couple weeks ago, and all of a sudden I get a notification from my credit report that says that you are late on a payment. I'm like, what are you talking about? You see, the Department of Education uses a company called Nailnet to do all of their collecting. Well, Nailnet showed up on my credit report showing that if I was late on a payment, and I'm like, what are you talking about? I ended up calling Nailnet, like, why are you all reporting to my credit report? Well, because they can. Now, again, right, wrong, or indifferent, even if they didn't have a right to do so, now I have to go through the process of getting that off of my credit report. And I'm trying to save you the hassle. So here's what happened. I called Nailnet, and Nailnet said, well, you can apply for an income-driven repayment plan. Now, here's where it gets good. Pay close attention. I pay very close attention. Do you see why I teach people stop putting yourself on payroll? One of the first things that Nailnet asks me, how much money do you make? Well, I don't make any money. My corporation does not pay me. And guess what happened? Nailnet approved me for an income-driven repayment plan at $0 a month for 12 months. You see? If I would have told them I didn't make any money, and then they would have asked me for my tax returns, and then my LLC would have been on my tax return, my S Corp would have been on my tax return, then I would have been seen as a liar, because they're going to ask you to prove that you don't make any money. Well, guess what? My corporation does not pay me, because why? As a shareholder, I'm not an employee. You see the difference? I'm trying to help you all. I know some of you all will stay stuck in that LLC mindset. I need you to understand. If you need more information, if you need help changing your life, visit us at www.𝐀𝐸nterpriseconsulting.com. When I talk to people about building a legacy, when I talk to people about taking a master class, I'm not trying to just teach you how to open a business. I'm not trying to teach you how to go get funding and never use your social security number. I'm trying to teach you about situations like this, the things that you never see coming, but you always prepared for. Again, ladies and gentlemen, if you need any help, visit us at www.𝐀𝐸nterpriseconsulting.com. We can help you. Peace.